Norris. I am a library consultant at the Library of Michigan, and I've been managing the Ploud program for 10 years. We service the websites for 120 libraries around the state. Almost all of them are small and rural. It is about 1/3 of the small and rurals in the state as a whole. We have a vendor called Enfold Systems. They are located in Texas. They do the programming work for us, as well as hosting the servers and providing tech support. So I was the help desk until 2015, and now the help desk is handled by their offices in Texas, and they do a really wonderful job of answering questions. They have some really sophisticated technology that I'll talk about in a little bit. And what I handle is the training. So I do a tour each fall, and we had hoped to do a tour in May this year as well, and that's not quite working out. So we're looking to pivot and see what kind of services that we can provide online over the summer to serve you and see what your needs are going to be. Especially now with people off work, I'm getting more questions than usual. So I know that people are taking this time to work on their sites and see what kind of training that they can get to use with their time. So let me look back at the chat window, see if there's anything else that's come in. No, okay, great. So let's take a look first at the Ploud homepage. So it has some kind of extra stuff up here because we're logged into the site. But let me go over the program basics with you. So the Library of Michigan subsidizes the website cost. We pay 55% total, and the remaining $206 per year is covered by the libraries. You're each billed individually by Enfold Systems. The contract is renewing on June 1, so you will get that bill for $206 individually. This site also has a lot of support material. For one thing, your peers support you. This is a list of all of the Ploud libraries in Michigan. And if you want to get some ideas about what's possible or what other people are doing, I do suggest scrolling through some of these libraries. Look for people in your co-op, look for libraries that you've traveled to or that you're familiar with. And if you just want a solid list of some examples, there are some up here. And we have a series of videos available. I recorded all of these in 2018, but we take off the ones that are no longer accurate. So this is actually via the stats, the most popular one I did doing Ploud right in Michigan. It is long, but it is a tour of examples of the strong features of Ploud that are done well in a variety of sites all over the states in all different sizes. We also have videos on things like advanced functionality. So the event registration software. There is native free event registration software in Ploud. There are collections which bring together displays of information, and I'll show you those later. And the most fun stuff, the cover pages, which are drag and drop functionality that allow you to build out any kind of a design you want. And carousels, so the ability to create rotating images that you could put on any page. And we have part 1 and part 2 that will walk you through exactly how to make that happen. And once again, we have lots and lots of videos. There are over 20 of them. So if you used to have a Plinkett site, which is what this program was called back in 2010, there's some cleanup videos. We have a series on user experience in Ploud, graphic design, accessibility, best practices, and writing for the web. So if you're just getting started, I do suggest coming to the video section. We've got a guide on using graphics, where to get free and low-cost graphics and logos. Information about the help desk, Local Hop, which is an agency or a company that we're partnering with to provide advanced calendar and event registration software. And these are the pilot libraries. And what this allows them to do is create community calendars where they can, for free, host all of the agencies and clubs and churches in their communities on their site. And of course, these calendars are pretty bare right now. So let's look at the 2020 workshops for just a second. So this is going to be more interesting for those of you who have a little bit of familiarity with the program, because you're going to know what this means. So let's see a show of hands. Out of the 26 of you, how many have been to one of my trainings before? So you've been at least once to one of the fall trainings. Yes, okay, I'm getting one hand. I know a couple of you have been. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what the fall training schedule is going to look like and what I'm hoping to do, maybe online, maybe this summer. It's going to be a pilot program first, but I'm interested in getting feedback from those of you who have been to a training to see how well do you think you could learn this material online. So we're going to do a 2-day class, a Bedrock skills class, and an advanced course. So simple things like working with text and images is covered in Bedrock skills, but not in advanced. Same for navigation, the calendar, the portlets, which are the boxes on the left and right of every page. Adding files like PDFs, once again, that's Bedrock skills. Mobile responsiveness, Bedrock skills. And then we get into some more of the fancier stuff. So we'll be doing, building out a social media campaign that matches the graphics on your site. Canva just opened up 18,000 new images for the free account that you don't need the pro paid account to use. And what we'll do is match a program that you're promoting, could be an online program, could be an in-person program, and we will create a social media campaign along with a carousel to promote something that's actually happening. So you've got something to walk away with that you can use on your own site, not just the Sandbox site. The help desk, and I'll tell you a little bit about how that operates. So in the beginner's class, we'll update your return on investment calculator. And in the advanced class, we will perform another operation. And so got some flattering news for you all. I was talking to Enfold Systems as I was planning this class, specifically Kim, who staffs the help desk. And I said, hey, what do the people in Michigan need to know this fall to help make the communication more effective? And he said, I got to tell you, the people in Michigan are heads above the rest of the country. And when I get a ticket in, the first thing I look at is where it's coming from. Because if it's coming from Michigan, I'm guaranteed to have an easier time with it because you all know the language that we use. You call the features by their correct names, and you've generally done more work on getting to an answer. So yippee to you guys, you're doing your jobs great, and Kim is really happy to hear from you. We're gonna do a story time. Always do a story time. I don't know about forms. This is when I was first performing this class, and I'd like some more feedback about whether you are interested in learning about the forms on the site. We will talk about copyright. And then when it comes to accessibility, in the Bedrock skills class, we're going to talk about writing alt text, using proper linking conventions, and headers, all important things. But when we get into the advanced class, I'm going to run your Ploud sites through automated checkers. Part of what they're doing is testing for weaknesses, and part of what I'm going to show you is the differences among the automated checkers, what you actually need to be concerned about, and what is a free version of a checking service that gives you a lot of red errors because they want you to buy their product so that they can show you how to fix it, because that's out there too. Designing for users with a variety of disabilities, and we will also work on accessible Office documents and PDFs. Usability, some of this starts now getting into the more advanced things, and we will do quite a bit with cover pages, definitely do the Google Business Profile. And then when we get into the carousels, this is once again creating a story that you can take into the social media world about a program that you're actually doing. I'm going to take a look again at the chat. I'm going to bring it over here into the window. Are you all now seeing the chat on my screen?
Mhm.
Yes, okay, great. So I'm hearing that yes on forms, okay, great. What about if you do a 2-day, can someone attend both? Absolutely. So the plan is to have the Bedrock skills open to anyone and advanced skills open to anyone who has either attended the day before or attended a year before. Either one is fine, and you can absolutely do both in 1 year. So if some people don't see the chat, Becky, what can you tell me? Are you seeing it?
I see the chat. Yeah.
I see the, okay, so you need to turn it on. Okay, so go to your drop-down menu and go to More. And under More, the very first drop-down option is Chat. There you go. Okay. Wonderful. Any other feedback about the class? How many of you would want to come to one of those classes? And you don't need to be registered for Ploud to attend a class. And we hold them all over the state. Hi, Cindy. I will see you there. Excellent. And I want to ask a couple of people specifically, if you have been to a class and feel that you have a really good handle on Ploud, would you be interested in doing a pilot where, oh sure, if it's in the budget. So the classes usually cost about $25 for the entire day. There is travel involved. So hopefully I would come to close enough to you that it wouldn't be a burden. And then how many people would be interested in trying to do this in a pilot situation online? How many people feel like they have enough of a handle on both Ploud and being able to manipulate lots of windows, because you'd have me and Zoom, and then you would have your test site in one window, and then you'd have other tabs. So for things like Canva would be in another tab, and Crapola, which is a tool that we use to resize images. Okay, so I'm getting several people saying they think it would be okay. So I'm going to write down your names. Okay, actually, I'll write down your names later, because now I've got lots of people to choose from. This is excellent. I'm so glad you all came today. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go to are some of the specific questions. And once again, so my role is to provide training, and it's the role of Enfold Systems to provide the actual help desk. So I want to show you how to do things so that you can do them yourself. And I know that that line can be a little tricky to navigate. Is this training or is this the help desk? Question. You're always welcome to contact me, and please don't, I'm not trying to put you off if I say contact the help desk. Ploud was 50% of my job, and I was the help desk, and I was able to take all of those questions. That's what I did all day long. And now my duties have really been shifted over to the MEL team, and Ploud has been reduced to 25% of my job, and so I really do need to focus on the training. And I really appreciate your understanding about that, because it just about kills me, because Ploud is my little baby. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into some of these training issues. So how to embed a video. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the embedded videos right here on Michigan's Ploud Home. So if we go to this page, we're going to see that this is a cover page. You know that because you can go into layout, and when you scroll down, you get these options that bump up to the top of your page, and you can create whatever you would like by dragging and dropping these choices. So I'm gonna go ahead and,
Oh.
Somebody said, oh, yeah, that's how that works. So yep, that's what we'll be covering in the advanced class. And what I did here was I created an embed tile. So I just simply dragged down a row, went to embed, and dragged it here. I'm gonna save it. And when I go over to compose, I can come here under edit, and I use the embed code out of YouTube. So that's how I do that. And so the video cannot be uploaded to Ploud. You had talked about a summer reading material that you wanted to have posted on your site. So upload it to YouTube first, which is free. And then you go to share in YouTube. And from there you grab the embed code and plop it here. Then you get space for a title and a description. The video plays right here. Title, description. And then I had a question about how to just add information to the site. So that's both simple and complicated. In the simple version, here's one of the Sandbox sites from this past fall. So this is what everybody got to practice on. Here is their homepage. We go into edit. Scroll down, we have a summary. This is what appears in search engines, precisely in search engines, to describe the page that they're going to click on to get to your library's homepage. I come down here and I have, we're devoted, we're fun, and we're here to deliver world-class customer service. And then I simply type, even when we're closed physically, we're still serving patrons. And I can say, you know what? I want them to really get that point. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, I want to do that in blue. And if I had broken up the paragraph, there we go. And then I can say, I want to do full screen, so I've got more space to work with. Or I can go to a source code view if I want to mess in with the HTML a little bit, although to be honest, Ploud tends to strip out HTML, so it's not a great coding site. So if you want to do all your own HTML, this is not the solution for you. If you want to be able to come in and highlight a fake Latin sentence and simply make it bold, or change the text color to red to alert your staff or your patrons to something, or you want to be able to do, for instance, an ordered list like this, or a bulleted list with a couple of different options for how they appear. You can, of course, put in images. You'll want to assign them a title and alternative text. Ploud is actually quite good at accessibility when you get it out of the box. You then need to learn the skills to maintain that. A big one is putting in alternative text. Something that I'm doing at the Library of Michigan right now with some of my reassigned time is creating videos about accessibility in a platform called Niche Academy. And so those are all going to be available to you as they are released as well. And there was a question about how to add an image from site assets into a lead image. So let's go to, not news, calendar of events. And we're going to go into story time. And I got bumped out of edit. That's fun. Story time. There we go. And there's a field here for lead image. I'm going to choose a file. Oh, it doesn't take me to site assets. I never noticed that before. Oh boy. Okay, so you're going to need to grab it from someplace on your computer. Let's go to site assets, which is the storage facility or the storage folder on your site for images. And let's see if we can just save it to my desktop and then re-upload it. So we've got site assets here. Site assets contains both images and files. It's just a neat way to keep everything so that it doesn't junk up your structure. We're going to go into images. We're going to have some examples here. I'm going to pull up community and I'm going to save image as community on my desktop. Come down to lead image. So this is kind of a messy solution, but it does. I could have sworn I put it on my desktop. Oh, maybe it's on the other row. It is not. Well, this is super exciting. I just love it when this happens in a meeting. So I'm going to duplicate because gosh darn it, I'm going to fix this. I'm just that kind of gal. Oh, but we'll do an easier image. So we're going to save image as. We're going to go up to, let's put it somewhere we know that it is. We'll go to Mail Redesign and we're going to call it Library Building. So here I am in story time. Choose lead image. And I'm going to go to Mail Redesign and Library Building. Always give it a caption. Save. And the reason this is important is that not only does it put the image up here, but it allows it to be placed very nicely in what we call collections. And collections look like this. So it's pulling items out of your calendar based on the metadata. And in this case, it's pulling out anything that's tagged with a certain word. And a lead image means that when you create this collection, it will pull that image out with the item. So not only is it nice for things like programs, it's also really nice for things like days the library will be closed. And this can simply refresh year after year after year. So you can have all of your holidays, and the next holiday will simply display on the top of the page, and the other ones will drop off to the bottom. And so that's kind of a nice feature of Ploud. Did I answer the question about how to add an image from site assets, which is, it doesn't work that way. Yes, the site, well, it doesn't really matter if the site assets get clogged up because you're not really in there as much as you are in your root folder contents, but it does mean that the image is going to be in there twice. Yeah, so it's not the greatest solution. I totally give you that. I'm leaving Amy a second to respond. Okay, sure. Let's go into the next one. So that was an overview of the program. Do you have any other questions about overview of the program, about functionality? We can look at some of the carousels. So you can absolutely mix carousels of photos in with carousels of tiles, which are images that you would build yourself. I just happened to do them separately because we were using different software to create them. But you can create any kind of image to go back and forth in a carousel as you would like. Questions about the overall look. So we had a question about why the location portlet on your site does not have the same colored header as upcoming events. That is due to your theme. So you can change your theme anytime you like, and it's going to change the entire look of your site. And different things look better in different themes. So we could like change this site to slate, and we would get a different set of colors, color options, different style of header, and the location changes. There's no longer a big colored box there. There isn't one for upcoming events either. That's because the theme changed and themes act differently. And so of course we have questions, hey, can't this theme do what this other theme does? And we can't see past your picture. What are you clicking on to get to theme, for example? Oh, I can always turn off my, if I'm big on the screen, I don't mean to be. Does that allow you to see the screen better? Oh, great. Okay. So in your, it's either a gear icon or your name, although actually there's soon to be an update and it's always going to be your name. You come here to Theme Changer and you have one of 4 theme options. So Slate and Hemingway are the ones that are a little busier. They both have an image capacity for the header. Metropolis and Ploud Default are both a little simpler. And it depends on what you're doing with your site and what other images you're using as to which theme you want to use. Of course, it's also what you like. So let me show you a couple of examples from around the state of different themes being used really well. So if we go to Mich Library and go over to the Michigan Sites page, let's take a look at Briggs District Library. So they have a really nice logo that they use along with the, I'm trying to, oh, you're here from Liz. Oh no, is this your site, Liz? Yup, you're getting lots of press now. This is a cover page. It means they have the drag and drop functionality and they control all of these tiles, and then they have put these individual logos here with links to get to these products. They have a carousel, and hey, I can show you how to fix this. This is an old problem, having a gray bar in here, and we go over that in training so you don't have gray bars. And then this is an emergency message, and this is their drop-down menu, and you learned this from Buchanan District Library, right? See, people like your site. It's really nice. That's why you're listed on the solid examples list. Let's go ahead and open Buchanan. So Buchanan is the first one to do the how do I drop-down menu. And it is very popular. I called them last summer and said, hey, do you mind if I use this feature in training? Because I think people are going to go nuts over it. And it also shows off how to do the drop-down menu. And they said, sure. So now more and more sites are using this how do I drop-down menu and the ability to get to commonly asked questions. Let's look at a couple of other sites. So Cadillac Wexford has been around for a long time. So Tracy or April, are you on the call? No, okay. So for instance, one of the things that they do really nicely is combine some of their homemade graphics like this orange with the color that they picked out in the template, which is also orange, and it looks nice. So they've also done some fancy things, for instance, with, oh, they have a community calendar. So this is what a community calendar looks like. These are the organizations that they host, and then all of these events display. They're broken up into these categories: festival and fair, food and beverage, government, local business, pet friendly, preschool, shopping, etc. Also by age group and keyword. Cloud sites also have what we call distributed content pages. So what this means is that at the Library of Michigan, we maintain, oh, but they don't have it, of course, one second. They did all local information. So let me go over to Briggs. So COVA19 Resources, this is one of the pages that we work on centrally. So we have information from the Centers for Disease Control, trusted resources from the federal government, and trusted resources from the state of Michigan that includes assistance for individuals, assistance for small business, and resources for employers. Now, the thing about this page is that it all stems from this page. And that was one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about. And we have Erica, Fruitport does otherwise. Yep, these are always opt-out situations. So you don't have to have any of these. We provide them so that you can have these resources and not have to maintain them yourselves, but you can always either just say, I don't want them, or take them off later. The only thing that you're required to have on your Ploud site is the Institute of Museum and Library Services logo, along with a statement, because they're paying. That covers the 55% of your costs. We also have e-resources for Mel, and we do a site for adults, for kids, and for teens. And you can have all three, just one, whatever you'd like. And right now, these have mainly been around popular materials for the public, journals and newspapers, life skills, and they haven't been so much around workforce development, which is going to become a big issue when the economy reopens. And another thing I would like to get input from you all on today is an update to this page. Now that we have more experience with the e-resources in the collection, I've gotten some feedback that folks would like the blanking on the word. I will come up with it in a little bit. Some of the more school related materials on the kids pages, and maybe not so much hobbies here. So we will also be putting together a distributed content page for workforce development when people are out of their homes and they're ready to get those resources for resumes. And we will provide that information for as long as it makes sense. It may be for 6 months, it may be for 5 years. And once again, it's opt out. You can come in or out of that page at any time. And then as soon as it's appropriate, we will create a page for starting a small business, because there are going to be a lot of businesses that don't make it, and a lot of new businesses that start up in 6 months or 8 months or 12 months. And we want to be able to support those businesses with the statewide resources that are available. So all of that are the types of things that are a bonus that you can receive with the program that we maintain here. And the thing is that it's not just this page that you get. I'm going to go ahead and log into, you know what, you're on the line, Briggs. So I'm going to go ahead and log into your site because you're here. And then if I do anything really awful, you'll know. So I've got an Uber login to everybody's site. So if we go to the COVID-19 resources page, we can come here to edit. This pulls in all of the information in the middle of the page. This allows you to put information above it. This allows you to put information below it, and they have local information here. COVID-19 updates from the St. John's Independent. So that allows you to have input into what's on your site. And of course, you can email me at any time to say, hey, I would also like to see this, that, or the other thing on all of the sites. Let's look at a couple other examples of good looking sites. Look at me getting off on a tangent. This is another example of a site that uses their entire homepage as a cover page. So it's completely built out according to how they want it to look. There's no predetermined anything. It's a blank slate, and they did exactly what they wanted. So the way it looks like a Ploud site is the fact that they've got this slate theme up here and the navigation. So this looks like all the other Ploud sites that use this same theme. But as far as the layout goes, these are all their graphics. All of the spacing is their own. The 3 columns here, this is all them, all them. And then this is a co-op, so the Mid-Michigan Library League has a site here. They use the Hemingway theme. And they have a lot of material on their site. Obviously, they have some different types of materials than a standard public library. They have information about their workshops and webinars, which is a service that they provide. And apparently it is pending the resolution of the current state of emergency. Let's see about their webinars, if you can watch those, some of the older ones. Yeah, they've got the archived webinars. Okay, great, excellent. And just another version, Springfield Township used a green theme. So their basic color is green. And they put location and hours over on the left. Do the pages all have to have a navigation indicator at the near to top left? You are here homepage. So this is a part of all of the templates. It is also a best practice for websites to have a breadcrumb trail. As you dig deeper into the site, you can navigate to each individual level, go up or down. So yes, it is a feature. You can also have a left navigation, but you can't take away this top or global navigation. You can make it different sizes based on the theme, but it's always going to be there. There's also, of course, basic contact forms. So they have 4 built out so that you can contact 4 different places. And under contact the director, standard information that's required to be answered goes directly to the director. You can also have a form go to multiple people. So it may be that the circulation form goes to 2, 3, or 4 staff members. That's also a possibility. Okay, so that's my spiel on the overall look. And then we had questions about, I've got 2 more, carousels in Canva and location, the location portlet not looking like the events portlet. Did that question get answered? Is there a form for filling out a library card application? So that's something that you would create yourself. So, yep, and Erica answered, we made our own on our site. So you can, that's one of the things I wanted to teach in advanced, how to manipulate the online form creation. So yep, you can do whatever you want with that, but there isn't a default one. And then from Amy, the location matches the upcoming events in yours, but in mine it doesn't. Okay. And Amy, which library are you from? Layton Township. Let's pull you up here. You are using not the location and hours portlet. You are using a rich text portlet where you can add anything you want into it. So I'm going to log into your site real quick. So you can access the boxes on the left and right of the page. They're called portlets. By coming down here in the center of any page, you click on Manage Portlets, and it will take you to a management page for that area. So this is location and hours, but it's actually just a static text portlet. It's not the fancy portlet that's used for location and hours. Would you like me to show you how to add that in? I'm going to go with that's a yes. So we're going to go to root folder contents. And we're going to add, we're going to go down here to our location and hours, which looks like an accordion. And by the way, everyone who gets a new site automatically gets the fancy one. This happens to be, oh, you've already got it in here. You're just not using it. So you've got the library location of Layton Township Library. Okay, so we're going to go back over. Yeah, it's right here, Manage Portlets. And these are parent portlets. So we're going to go up a level to where your location and hours is. We're going to add a library locations portlet. I know I'm going really fast. It's going to happen and you'll have it, and you would learn more about how to make it happen on your own in training, but we'll just get it up there now. So location and hours. And see, what's on the left means it's not going to display. If you move it to the right, it will display. We're going to save that. And it comes to the bottom. Everything you add to Portlets defaults to the bottom, and then you can move it up with the arrows. And the one with and is the fancy one, and the one with the ampersand is the one that you created yourself. So we're going to save those settings. Go back to the home page. Here's the one that you created, and here's the one that the last person who came to training created. You can now come here and do any kind of editing that you want. Click on edit. You can change the picture, update all of this information. And if you want the hours to be in on their own lines for each day, you can simply make them their own lines, etc. And then I assume that you're closed right now. So the nice thing about this also is that as long as you've put in an address that Google Images recognizes, it will give all of your patrons a map. And the nice thing is that when they're on their phone, they can just simply use the direction finder to get from where they are to your library. So it has that nice little feature. So Amy, give me a heads up here. Do you want me to hide this right now until you can go in and deal with it? Or you want me to just leave it so you know where it's at? Hide it? Okay. So I'm going to go to the parent level. And I'm going to hide it. Okay, and now it's still there, and you can come back anytime and fix it up. Okay, and then there was, yes, you would just delete the old one. Yep. Or you can hide it if you think you might want it again. In this case, you probably wouldn't want it again because it's just old information. And there was another question that came in at the same time as Amy's. So one of the things was online learning. So let's take a look at a couple of things about the distributed content pages while I have got all of you captive in my webinar. Let's go look at the COVID-19 page. So most of you have this page on your sites. Can you give me any feedback about things that you would like added, things that you think can be deleted, any sections that you think need to be added or deleted? We're now a month into this. And the government actually is putting out so much information on Facebook that we just put up links to their Facebook sites because that's how some of this is getting out. Some of it's press releases and on the news, and some of it's on their Facebook page. I mean, that's how I watch the governor's press conferences, is on the Michigan State Police Facebook page. Yes, and you can absolutely put your Muskegon info anywhere you like. You don't have to use this. You know, we try not to be too dictatorial. We're trying to offer a service, not force anything on you. And so I've got a comment from Cindy that you don't want info that changes constantly. Okay, great. Let's take a look at Mel. So these are the resources that we have for adults. We already looked at that page. Let's look at the one for kids. So for them, it's Learn with the basic Learn things. I attended an initial online webinar through Superior Line Cooperative. Do I get a sandbox? Yes, you can absolutely have a Sandbox site. And I can also send you training material from, oh, that was private. Okay, why don't you email me after and we will talk. Okay, so kids is Learn. And this is all of the main stuff that we provide to the schools for child learners. Then they have material to get them books, and of course the ebook collection. Let's go over to Mel. And are there any materials that you use frequently with your patrons that you would like to see added to the main distributed content page? Any subjects you would like to see better represented? Any subjects you feel we should kind of downplay right now? I mean, it was a great idea a year ago. I do not know. I'm going to just write everything down and then go back and look at it. So novelist higher up, great. Demographics now, okay. Novelist higher up. Yes, it does not have to be in alphabetical order. Anything else? Let me look through here and see the name of the resource that I couldn't remember. It'll be in the drop down. Let me go up to the drop down. But there's 77 of them. That's really not helpful. Okay. Remember how I said Mel was 50% of my job? We'll just ignore that comment for now. We're just going to pass right over that. Okay. Any other comments about Mel e-resources that you would like to see on the Ploud sites, either adult or kid or teen? What about the database that gives patrons? Yep. So this is what we have for magazines and newspapers. It's under adult. And it is currently the second category, and it's Consumer Reports via Master File Complete and Newspaper Source Plus. So we don't really have a lot of newspapers, but we do have quite a bit of magazines that we could add. Obviously, we've got a lot of, you know what we could link people to? Tell me about this. I'm not sure how many of you are even aware of this yourselves, because it is not necessarily real widely promoted, but we have an e-journals search. This will search all of, yeah, I don't think we've got people anymore. That was a Gale product, if I'm not mistaken, with the swap, with the swap of, we do have it. I'm glad to be able to say I was wrong. So we've got 94 to the present under Academic Search Complete, Master File Complete. Yeah, we got plenty of people. Yeah, I'm thinking RB Digital, sorry. Webinar showed us this week. Excellent. Okay. What would you think of having this publication search in the Mel e-resources section so that people could search for any journal that they were interested in? Okay, let's go ahead and go for that. The periodical search. Okay. And then, so I have got everything that I need from this meeting, which I really thank you all for showing up and letting me know what you wanted to see, what you wanted to do. I'm going to go back through the chat window. Oh, carousels and links. Yes. Okay. Let's take a look at carousels real quick. And let me go back to, I want to go back to, actually, you know what? I'm going to take you to, this is the new site that everybody gets when they come on board Mel. This is the new default template. And I have created a carousel on the homepage right off the bat. These are just, you know, default images. They can use them, delete them, whatever, but the format is here so that they can add their own tiles in. And then they have space beneath for text. But so many people want the carousel. So carousels are part of cover pages, which is the drag and drop functionality where you are creating your own layout. So if we go here under layout, we can see that there is a row, and in this case, it's across 2/3 of the page. You could make it 1/3 of the page or the entire page. And I have my rich text under here. But all I did was drag a row down, and then into that row, I dragged Ploud Carousel. That creates the structure of a carousel. Then I go into Compose. I click on Add Content, and I scroll to where I've put my images. Here are some random images in here. But if I follow the content tree down, I can scroll to Site Assets, Images, and these are those 4 items. Let's say I'd added 5. I would come back here, pick it up, drag it into the box, and there it would be immediately. It's a little more complicated than that. There's a few more, details to get right. But I also had a question about Canva. So Canva has a free version and a paid version. And it used to be super, super nice to have the paid version. Can you go over adding a file in this cover page? Not in the amount of time we have left. Let's do it another time. So Amy, let's email me and we will set up another time to do it. But there was a question about using Canva. So this is a paid account, and it means that down here in our brand kit, we've uploaded the specific font that we use for Mel and the Library of Michigan, which is Gill Sans Regular. And these are our 2 color palettes, and they're just always in here whenever I need to create anything. And just like a free account, it will save your designs. So here are flyers in our 3 colors and other materials that we reuse. But anybody in a free or paid account can create a design. This is a standard Ploud size, 960 by 540. And then here's the thing. I have got lots and lots and lots of different images available to me. These are templates, but if I go to photos, I can search for anything. I'm gonna search for magic. I get all these options. Let's say I'm doing a magic show. I can use one of these. This is the paid version, but all of these images just got moved to the free version too. So it used to be that all of these images were for the paid version, and then you'd have to pay like $2 or $1 to get the nicer ones, and they just gave them to everybody. So that's excellent. And you drag the image over. You can make it as big as you want. One of the other things that we do, once we use a paid for free pick, will it stay? Once you've used the image, it's yours. One of the other things that we do in class is we go to a service that allows you to choose an image out of your site, like with a little eyedropper, and then you can come over to your design and make it the background. And that's how all of these images have a background that matches the headers. So you can do that in any of the themes with any of the color schemes, and that way, that's how your site matches. So that's one of the that's the graphics lesson that I teach in the beginners class. And we do something even fancier in the advanced class. We talk about the types of images to use here in the center. So that is the quick version of Canva and carousels. So we have 4 minutes left. Does anybody have a question that they would like to ask? Any other topics that I didn't cover quite well enough? This was great, thank you. Okay, so I have 2 people that I need to get back in touch with, Lynn and Amy. And if anybody wants to, how do you get rid of the gray? You need to make sure that your background, the image, not just the image, but the entire size of the carousel you're uploading is the right size for the width that you've chosen, either 1/3 of the page, 2/3 of the page, or the entire one. And yes, we can absolutely do this again. Can you add a URL to the carousel? Yes, you can. So you can make this whole image clickable. If you come here under edit, like let's say that this was an ad for RB Digital, you simply come here to custom URL, put in the URL, and everybody will be taken there when they click on it. So absolutely you can use that for advertising. So I will create another one of these. Oh, and you need help getting a username. Okay, absolutely. Why don't you stay on the line, and after we're done recording, we will get you a username. So if I said I would help you, I've got more people than I can remember right now. Email me after this class, norris.s2@michigan.gov. And if you can't remember that, you can come to michlibrary.org and come to our Contact Us page. Everything that comes here comes to me. So if you ever forget my email address, I'm all over Library of Michigan website, but you can come here and we will work together. We will do this again in a couple of weeks. Oh, thank you. And we will get to know a username. Alrighty, any last comments? Feel free to go ahead and put them in the text box. I don't want to overstay my welcome with your time because I know everybody is. Isn't it amazing how we're more busy than we were when we were in our physical libraries? This is insane. You are all very, very welcome. I'm really glad that we did this, and I will definitely schedule another one.